in this as a short charge, yeah, with the aim of spurring you, to spur you to go study the life of an interesting mother in the scriptures. She is an example of a nurturer that we should really, really pay attention to. Have you ever paused to think about the woman that raised Moses? Do you even know her name? Yes, I'm talking about Jochebed, the mother of Moses. Exodus chapter 2 is not just a story to just read and go by. We really need to take a seat, take our lenses, our glasses, and take our pens and book. We need to do a deep dive into what happened in the first four verses, actually. So I'm going to read Exodus chapter 2, verse 1 to 4. It's in the King James Version. My Bible is down here. And there went a man of the house of Levi, and took to a wife a daughter of Levi. And the woman conceived and bare a son. And when she saw that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months. And when she could no longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bulrushes, and daubed it with slime and with pitch, and put the child therein. And she laid it in the flags by the river's brink. And his sister stood afar off to wit what would be done to him. You may want to see this in different translations. I particularly love the New Living Translation. From this study, I would like to categorize these lessons into 4 words. We're using the acronym WISE. 4 words. Jochebed was wise. Jochebed was intentional. Jochebed was strategic. And finally, not the least though, Jochebed, embraced her ancestral legacy. She played a very important role, in embracing ancestral legacy. So let's take it from the top. Wise. Wisdom in perceiving purpose. We see from verse 1, I think verse 2 also, how that Jochebed gave birth to a baby boy in a time where boys were to be killed. Others from Pharaoh. Children of Israel weren't going to go because a deliverer was going to be born. But I'm not sure she understood what it was exactly. But she saw the baby and knew this child is different. This one shouldn't be killed. He needs to be preserved. She was wise in perceiving purpose early. I'm wondering that she looked at him at day one and she wondered, this boy is different, and a neighbor or someone in the family, at least that is able to see a child, is wondering, how? What do you mean? How do you mean it's different? He has an older brother though. Like, what's different about him? But she knew, she spotted it early, that there was a purpose for the child and it couldn't be killed. When you look at your children, do you see what God's plan is for them? I'm sure you know I'm not just talking about physical sight. Again, sometimes you can just see, right? But I'm particularly asking you questions about your spiritual eyes. What do you see about your child, your children, or the ones that you nurture around you? We need to be able to see. It's important because this laid a foundation for all the things that Jochebed did. She had to see that there was something different about the child for her to be intentional. So now the second is intentional faith and courage. Jochebed had intentional faith and courage. Faith is not just waiting for solutions to jump on you. She had to create, she had to be creative with her faith. She knew this child shouldn't be killed. But beyond just believing that he would survive, she needed to do certain things. One, she hid him for 3 months. So no one was going to see him. Nobody was going to do anything to him. After hiding him for 3 months, she went on to build a ark of preservation, a basket, a papyrus basket. You can go on to read about how she made this basket. She had to do something. She also had the courage to hide a baby for 3 months, required courage. To build a basket with no one suspecting that, this basket you are building, are you building it for fruits or you are building it for goats? Because they were going to be, she was going to raise suspicion if she did that openly. She had courage to build the basket. She probably did some research. See, faith is not just all, was not us just sitting down, putting our hands together and expecting the Lord to show up. One of the lessons from this, is that faith prepares, faith releases, and faith watches expectantly. We need to have an expectation rather. She had intentional actions, creative solutions, even in the crisis, to preserve the purpose of her baby. And so, I'm going to highlight the fact that she had a creative solution to issues with your children, the solutions to raising, nurturing those children. That child may not be found on the surface. You're going to have to create the solution. That is, the books to help that child grow right may not have been written. You may have to write it. The song to help the child learn may not have been sung. You're going to have to compose it. The school to attend to the special need that your child has may not have been established. You may have to kickstart it. And that is also faith. The third one is strategic preparation and surrender. This woman, Jochebed, was strategic. she was strategic. Like, strategy speaks to me. For me, strategy is about positioning, posture, actions. She prepared a papyrus basket, made sure it was waterproofed. So she already knew she was going to put him on the river. Probably she had observed Pharaoh's daughter for a while and she knew, okay, she's going to come here. But not that she's going to come here again. She probably understood Pharaoh's daughter as like she, you can see like she kind of programmed all the things that happened the way they happened. She probably already just says or knew, watched, or like strategy. She had to think of how to win in this case. She had a plan, made a basket, made sure it was waterproof because it was going on water, put it in a position where it will be seen by the right person. And when it was seen, she had his older sister stick around, afar off but close enough to observe what's happening. Faith, like I said, prepares. Faith releases, and faith watches expectantly. We need to also think about positioning. Yes, we are expecting things to happen. We're expecting God to turn things around. But are you close enough to observe when it happens? Are you close enough to receive the help for your child, for your son, for your daughter? And as I'm speaking, I sense that there is a particular son, whom the parents I'd use the word further because they haven't found the right solution to preserve this child. And you have labored and worried so much. And I sense the Lord is just saying, so arise and create that which you desire to see. Because again, you creating that for your child may just be what is required for other children after. So you preserving your child would mean you creating a system that can preserve many other children. I really hope that this person sees this video and understands it for them. The fourth one is Jochebed embraced ancestry legacy, or rather, as steps ensured that there was a preservation of ancestry legacy. So, like I said, the grandfather of Moses is Levi, and if you check the words, the blessing or statement of Jacob over Levi and Reuben was about, them be full of anger, violence. It was all of that. Go and read all of that. This is a chart to study, so please do the study. However, you will see that the actions of Jochebed ensured that lineage was redeemed. 1, 2. I suppose that God already had the design to redeem that lineage, right? But without Jochebed doing what she did with Moses, it won't have been possible the way it was possible. So Moses, became joined to the Lord, like Levi means is to join to the Lord. He Also his older brother ensured, because of Moses, his older brother Aaron was able to be the first high priest because he had worked hand in hand with his brother, and God had chosen them as the family of the priest. He was the first high priest. And I just go on to think about what would have happened to Aaron if Moses was not preserved. I feel like their destinies were joined, tied together, and their mother probably didn't even know this at the beginning when she was doing what she did. But our steps, our actions, the wise actions, the decisions she made ensured that the destiny of our younger son, older son, and their ancestry line was fulfilled. So I just want to ask you, do you know your ancestry well enough to understand what God is doing with you and your children? Because again, God actually works through, like, He preserves ancestral identity and purpose. There is a generational calling. There is a calling on your generation, on your lineage. There is an identity for your lineage. And whether you know it or not, whether you like it or not, it actually continues. Speaking of the anger, in Levi, you would see that it exhibited eventually in the life of Moses. And so if we knew, or if we know what is in our lineage, in our ancestry, we might just be able to steward it properly. We may be able to, again, redeem or continue. At least we know, we find out. So please, I hope this study, as this charge rather, will spur you to go study more about the life of Jochebed. I'm really amazed. I am challenged personally. I'm going to, begin to do some other things in my life, in my life as a mother and also as a nurturer, to, in line with what I've learned from Jochebed. Do let me know what you are learning, what was highlighted to you as you listen to the charge and also did the study. I'd love to hear from you. God bless you.